My lovely Virgos. I'm Laura. If you're new to my channel, I'm going to do a general message, obviously for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid. Rose could be reversed, flip it, switch it, twist it. Always interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Never force anything. Take what you need, leave the rest. Also know that my readings, I like to go a little bit deeper. I like to say that in the beginning of every video, only because the readings are a little bit longer and I focus more on the spiritual blocks, the shadows, how they play out as karmic themes within your experience to help you heal, to help you shape shift your situation. Many times we're connected to someone that's a soul mate type of connection. And soulmate could be past life karmic mate, it could be soulmate, it could be family soulmate, it could be, oh, there's a lot of different kinds, is what I'm getting at. However, each person comes into our life to teach us. We're a magnet of who and what is supposed to come to us. So we get people that are very much like ourselves, and we also get things that we need. People come to us to teach us, and they teach us through how they treat us. They teach us through what they do for us, the impact that they have on us. That's why these connections are imperative for our spiritual growth, but they're considered spiritual. We wouldn't stick around long enough to deal with these type of relationships a lot of times, especially the past life karmic mate or twin flame type connection, because those type of connections are difficult. They're going to awaken every single wound that we have in order for us to heal. A lot of times we don't heal, though. A lot of times we get stuck in a karmic loop where the same type of situations play out, mainly because we react the same way to those experiences and to the triggers that we have from those experiences. So healing is all about having new awareness by doing something different. So I hope that you learn more than just whether your person cares about you, whether they are going to come back, whether or not they are remorseful for how they've treated you, and all the other things that we tend to tune in to find out when we go and get a reading. We want to know those things, but that satisfies the ego part of self. And the ego part of self is the part of ourself that is a little bit more superficial. It's what we perceive we want, but those perceptions are also built on a lot of times our lack. So we're going to first pull the card of the day, because the card of the day is always how I like to open up my readings. It's the underlining energy of the reading, like why people are doing what they're doing, what's driving people's motives, their actions, their intentions. Now, it's also the word that you're going to put in the comment bar if you want to enter into winning free reading with me. Now, if you do, you also need to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write the word of the video in the day. And the word of the video is going to be the genius, the genius. The genius part of self is a God part of self. It's the higher self. It's the part of ourself that when we're doing what we love and we lose ourselves in what we love, we're in that divine space. We're actually co-creating with God. Now, the creative genius is the right side of the mind. That's the intuitive, the supernatural part of ourself is, again, that deity part of ourself that relies on our intuition. It doesn't really rely on the logical or analytical part. However, if we intuitively are aware of something, then it a lot of times calls us to further investigate logically. And this is where I feel like you're in connection with someone that there is a very strong connection, but you're tuning in to this person and they're also tuning in to you. I feel like you've avoided a lot of catastrophes because even though this person's a soulmate, I feel like they're troubled. And so there's a dynamic a lot of times that happens when we meet a soulmate that's not on the same vibration. And it's what happens is there's awarenesses all straight across the board. Awarenesses of if you're dealing with someone on a lower vibration, they're making you feel not good enough. They're making you feel not worthy. They're playing games. They're manipulating. They're gaslighting. They're doing everything to try to keep you up in your head instead of commit. So they play games. Now, when you're in the genius part of yourself, you already know this. So you're in the creative mind and you're putting your energy more into yourself. And I feel like this is changing the complete dynamic of your relationship because the person that you're connected to is not used to people investing in themselves. Know that sounds crazy. I feel like they're used to being with very superficial people that might do things, but they do them for show and their heart isn't really into it. See, when we're in the genius part of ourselves, we're in that supernatural mind, we're in that part of our mind that's very meditative when you're doing something over and over and over and over and over again, and you're mastering it. Kind of like why when you watch an Olympic skater, it looks easy, or a gymnastic, someone that plays gymnastics, they for the Olympics, they make it look so easy, like you'd be able to go out and do that yourself. And clearly you know that you can't do that yourself, but they look graceful. They look they look like it's fluid. Everything goes really nice and smooth and it looks so easy. And that's because they've done it over and over and over and over and over and over. Mastery comes in doing. We're all David going up against Goliath. So understand the supernatural part of self allows us to, again, become masters of whatever it is that we're going after. And I feel like, Virgo, you're putting in a lot of time to try to master your traits. And because of that, you've cut your energy off to the outside world. And I feel people notice it. And I'm also feeling like at one time people used to fulfill you and they used to make you happy, but you're not really resonating. You don't really want to go to all the bars. You don't really want to go to all the clubs. You really don't want to, you're in a place where you want to feed yourself. You want to nurture yourself. You want to give to yourself because you want a better life. You want things for yourself. So there's a sense of self-love, a lot of self-love, which is really healing for you. I don't know if you know that. Now, being that I feel like this energy, we're going to start off by pulling some shadow cards to just look at the spiritual blocks. This will help you not take things so personally because you're dealing with someone on a lower vibration, you're definitely going to trigger the shit out of you. So, and triggering is, again, the person makes us feel a certain way about ourselves, which is a place of usually of lack, of disempowerment. And where really no one should be able to put you in a place of disempowerment. No one should be able to take you out of this energy, this is the God part of self, the higher self. And so only if you're dealing with difficult energy. So when we're able to look at the shadows, we are able to not take things personally because we begin to look at things from a spiritual perspective and not, from our logical, analytical mind, which is a survival mind, which the survival mind is always looking for anything, like anything that we perceive is bad or a threat to us. And it doesn't even need to be a threat anymore. The child self, a lot of times, is what determines. That's why I always look at your inner child wounds. See why you attracted the person that likes to play games within your life. That makes you feel like they make you feel like so good, and the connection is so intense, and there's so much passion, there's so much chemistry, but then as soon as you get comfortable, they do something to screw up their relationship. Like it's like where they get in their own way. And that makes you feel as if that there's something wrong with you. And so that's why I'm saying no one should be able to do that. So you take it personally when really I'm not feeling like you should take it personally. And that doesn't mean you should go along with it either. We'll explain how to deal with it. Taking something personally means that you're taking it from a certain perception where it's attacking you. And when you're dealing with a karmic mate, that's the worst thing that you could do, because then you'll really be put in a place of disempowerment and then begin to feel bad about yourself. And we don't want that. So rocky, because if they always made things rocky, like again, never smooth. That's what I said, never allowing you to be comfortable. And for a lot of you Virgos, I feel like it just brought you back. It brings you back this relationship right back to your childhood, to like being surrounded by people that didn't really love to be with each other, people that, you know, made it like a chore to be with each other. So that's really confusing to be brought up in an environment where you're taught that your parents love each other, but they're not really displaying love or how you perceive love was. If anything, I feel like you perceived that it was a chore. Like everything was a chore. And then when you needed something, it was a chore. So that programs you from a very young age to perceive that you're a bother. So I'm feeling as mainly it's a rocky road because you don't set your boundaries right up front. And the person that you're dealing with intuitively knows this. So they play games. You're like, well, you didn't say. Well, I did, there was a miscommunication. No, there wasn't a miscommunication. You have a problem communicating. So because you don't want to communicate, because you want to be able to do what you do, which is the games. Again, and that always makes you feel alone. So let's look at more shadows. But I feel like, again, they also grew up in a place where the relationships were difficult. And so, seeing good relationships when we grow up is imperative. Because what we'll accept later on in life, a lot of times is an inherited behavior. If you don't know, you're not going to ask. And so alone, this tells me too, the wound within inside of you is the same wound inside of the person that you're connected to. The wound inside of you is that, again, when your parents can't give you the nurturing and the love and you feel like you're a bother, you would begin to just not ask. You begin to just rather take care of it by yourself. But then you're always alone. You don't really feel supported. So the rocky relationship creates the same relationship that you felt like you grew up in and how this person actually also grew up in. Because they're used to the rocky. We can become addicted. And that's what I'm feeling. I feel like your person is a little bit addicted to the drama. Because when we grow up in an environment where it was rocky all the time, we begin to live in a survival mode. And when we live in a survival mode, we release chemicals such as epinephrine and others that we can become addicted to, because there's a little bit of a rush, there's a little bit of excitement. And so when things are calm, when things are too smooth, then what happens is they wind up getting in their own way. And they get in their own way because they're waiting for the shoe to drop. So then what happens is they are so focused on waiting for the shoe to drop that they make the shoe drop. And that's a psychological reversal. But it's, again, I can see how you would say this is games. This person plays nothing but games. And it triggers me, no bounds. like always overstepping their bounds. Because again, using this connection and the passion that they know you have for them winds up um, working a lot of times against you, because there is good chemistry and there is a sense of them starving you for so long and then coming back and then giving in this passion. So we see this, um, how it recreates that same childhood trauma of growing up in an environment where there's everything smooth, and then there's drama, and then it's smooth, and then there's drama. It's like, so then we wait for the drama to always occur. And so what happens with your person is they create drama in your relationship, they go away, they come back as passionate. It's again, and there's a little bit of drama, and then it gets boring, and then they go away. And so the no bounds is really not setting proper boundaries. And that's the thing is, your person's controlling the entire situation, but mainly because no one's, like you said, setting boundaries, not directing the relationship. You're giving this person like the benefit of the doubt. Confusion. And that's what I was saying, like when we are brought up in an environment that is confusing, then we tend to feel like that's the norm, that we don't know what love really looks like, where we don't have anything to gauge it by, and it's confusing. And then what happens is that everyone in a relationship that grows up in that type of environment kind of does the same things and might have the same behaviorisms, because the universe brings us people to us that are our opposite. They are the same but opposite. So what does that mean? Well, you might have grown up very similar. However, the behaviorisms and habits are different. The survival mechanisms are different. But those survival mechanisms are over responses or under responses. That's why they would be considered a second chakra. And so the under would be being with someone that breadcrumbs, doesn't give anything, doesn't show any emotion, acts like they don't care, like I said, just have a very hard time like being intimate. So they tend to be detached, dissociated, which is the same thing as detached, only detachment is where we're actually watching our body and actually seeing like ourselves outside of ourselves, like almost like astral projection. Only with trauma that happens, it's almost like we're watching like someone else's experience, but it's our own. And disassociation is when we don't have an emotional feeling towards what's happening anymore. It's like, uh, so even when we're detached, sometimes we can still feel the emotion, but I feel like your person has both. And it's very common to have both from trauma. So then now you're trying to have a relationship with this person, and that's why they don't really know how to have they don't really know how to have a strong intimate connection because they need healing. But this would create a lot of confusion in the relationship, and I feel like part of them does this also as part of the drama, to keep you up in your head and to not be able to communicate, to not express how they feel about you. They know how you feel by how you react. So it's almost like they need that because there's a sense of lack within inside them. And when a person's disassociated and detached, they have a hard time feeling because you're not in your body anymore. So there's actually a numbing feeling. So this person might even have a lot of addictions, like in everything that they do, they tend to do over. And that might even include if they breadcrumbed you, they didn't give you anything. You like, I would see breadcrumb, but I didn't even get that. Like, because they overcompensate, and that's they control their environment. They're strategizing. They're not coming from their heart. They're coming from their ego. And that's because obviously every time this person gets around love, they wind up like it the psychological things and the behaviorisms, just it's automatic, right? I mean, when you live in an environment long enough, you condition yourself. And how long do you really have to live in an environment with somebody that doesn't make you feel safe? And psychologically, emotionally, physical, there's no difference. Spirit says that there's no difference because you're only in physical form to learn and to manifest. So your mind doesn't know the difference between, is it real or is it fake? Is it the body that's being hurt physically, or is it the emotions? So the imbalance. And I feel like you are a very sensitive person, Virgo, and this person uses that again against you. And I think I said that in the beginning of the reading, but I'm feeling it again. And that's, again, confusion, keeping you up in a place of confusion. Slow to act. And that's, again, because they're always like making it like they take too long because they have to think about everything, always coming from a place of logic. Like overthinking a lot of times is what happens from trauma, like keeps us up in our head as if we're trying to figure out something. But the problem is that your person has intimacy issues. So without actually taking the time to nurture the connection, they'll never feel confident. They're slow to act because they're not confident. They're actually moving a little bit because the God part of self is the God is of love, of unconditional love that is inside of them. Everybody has God part. Everybody has God inside of them. Everybody has that supernatural power inside of them. However, we all grow up in environments where we create these behaviorisms that really are rooted in a spiritual block, a psychological and emotional block held in the body as stress. It's what becomes our energy vibration. So understand the reason why your person keeps coming to you is because of that supernatural, the genius part of self, again, that knows you're supposed to be in their life. However, once they're in the relationship, they do all this. So we're going to look now and look at the hidden truths, because we looked at all the ugly things that they did, the games, the this, the that. I explained why. However, knowing someone's intentions, true intentions, will be able to explain why they're going to do what they're going to do now in the future. And then we're always asked, why did you pull this person to you? Why are you a magnet to this person? So we always look at the inner child wounds and then end off with a little bit of spiritual advisory, because the answer a lot of times is not yes or no. Unfortunately, you're dealing with a person that you have feelings for, but they're blocked. Now, Spirit brings people into our life to heal us, to grow us. Now, does that all the time mean that you're supposed to be with this person or any person that's a difficult relationship like this? No. But the least of what you should is to learn, meaning like you should get something. The least from dealing with this is, that I don't react when people mention you. So it's, again, still want to show that they're not really emotionally intelligent, but they should still have feelings because they wouldn't care. They just don't know what to say. And that's really what I'm saying. And saying there is a sense that they don't know whether it's over because of you. They don't know whether or not what to say, what not to say. They're not emotionally intelligent. I wish I could share my good news with you. Feel like they're making changes in their life. They're also working on themselves. I want you again, so the chemistry is still there. And I believe that that's what they're still realizing. So that's the whole thing with this. The least that this person will learn if you're not with them is that you can't turn off love just because you get in your own way and you sabotage through this, and this person does all that because they don't love themselves, and they don't realize that, because no one walks around saying, I don't love myself. And the ego will never say that. The ego is all about the survival mind, the reptilian mind. And what it's going to say is, you're fabulous, you're fucking great. Don't keep on it. That was wrong of that person. And that, because it's survival, it wants to see itself grandioso. So again, that's what happens when we get enough trauma and a person's disassociated. They don't know who they are. They don't feel good. They don't feel good because, again, there's a root chakra imbalance. In fact, it's connected to the adrenal glands, living in survival mode, which is when a person doesn't know who they are, and the whole numbing feeling from living in survival. So every time they feel a lot of emotions, it's so intense for them, they don't know what to do. So they just always put it in the passion place. But what they're seeing is, I still have feelings. It's time for me to heal now. And that's what I was saying, is that there's a sense of them that the least that this relationship should bring for them is the healing, the awareness. And so I'm really happy to see that, but I feel like you're the catalyst, because listen, the ego part of stuff is still in there, and God made us that way, so that we would want things, so that we would go after things, so that we would have passions for things. And a lot of times when we don't love ourselves, it's easier to love someone else, right? It's easier to love your child if you don't love yourself as much as you should. It's easier to love. And so the person likes who you are, loves who you are. And I believe, again, because you're in this energy where you're like, again, creating yourself, and it's things are looking easy for you, but it's not that it's easy. It's that you've taken the time and the energy, and mastery again comes in doing, so it becomes second nature. So you're inspiring to this person, where they're watching you, and you're letting them have their unique unfoldment process. I believe that this person was brought up in an environment that everything was an issue. Everything was an issue. And I believe that that's how you were brought up also. Like I said, the behaviorisms are different. I want to feel that way again. They fell out weird, so I'm just going to take them, because I feel like there are no mistakes. It's a spiritual channel. I want to feel again that the way, again, I can't stop thinking about you. I wish I had treated you better. Again, like I said, that's what spirit wanted, not me. And that's saying that they wouldn't be making the changes in their life unless you, again, showed them a different way. I don't believe that you went with all the drama. Like, this person was all ready to play that game, come in, come out, play a lot of games, and you were like, this is too much for me. This is too much for me. And then I believe that they got into a relationship with someone that wanted to play their game and actually knew how to play their game a little bit better. And that's another thing that the ego tends to do. Instead of saying, let's work on the relationship, let's work on this, let's fix it, because I do have feelings. What I feel like this person did was they played a lot of games, tried to scare you, tried to like manipulate you to get what they wanted. And that's really why they wish that they treated you better. That's really why they can't stop thinking about you, because you did not play the games that they, again, felt like they needed. But this person, what I feel like the whole game playing created so much, so much emotion inside of them. And that emotion inside of them is really, it's toxic. And I feel like they get confused because, again, when we grow up in an environment where we watch our parents that claim to love each other, but they're always fighting and they're not treating each other well, and there's all this drama, and this person almost inherited that and then brought in all those behaviorisms and all those feelings into every single relationship, but then again thought that they were going to do the same thing with you, and you were like, oh, I don't have time for that. I'm in this energy. And that's, again, really created an awareness. But we have to say, okay, why did you attract this person into your life? They could have been a karmic test. That's what we got the other day. Or they could actually, bring forth something. A lot of times, soulmates help each other. You might be like, that's disgusting energy. Not if this person heals and evolves. Then again, then what happens is that they raise their energy vibration. They're not going to treat you the same. So, and that doesn't mean that you would just roll out the red carpet and say, oh, come right on in. You would have to do it in a balanced way, but you'd have to really love this person. And we're going to see whether you really love this person or not. Because love, it doesn't matter what a person shows you. And they could be bringing something to the table too, something that you don't have. It's a spiritual relationship, which means that not one person just benefits. It's a two-way, two people benefit. Most people get stuck in a karmic situation where they give themselves up too fast and they feel like the person that took advantage of them didn't pay karmic consequences. They are. You just don't see it in the way that you're seeing it. The more that they run from relationship to relationship, they never are able to intimately connect with anyone. So over time, they don't really feel like they fall in love. They feel like that there's something wrong, that they get bored too easy. And realize that anything that you're going to really love, you have to nurture, you have to put time into. And this is what I think that your person is realizing. Again, that leading it to these higher character morals. So we always want to know, why did you pull this person to you? Again, play. So I believe that when well, first of all, because if you put your energy into them, first and foremost, then you wouldn't be putting your energy into this. This is the genius part of self, is that supernatural part of yourself, which is intuitive, and when we're living that, we're living our bliss. And that is really when we play. It's like as an adult, we are finding ourselves, we're having a love affair with ourselves, we're again having a good time, we're meeting new people and creating a whole new life by investing in ourselves. And I believe that Spirit says when this person again triggered you by bringing up these feelings, and these feelings again of trauma from the way that you were brought up, you were like, I can't do this, whatever this is. Like you said, it pushed you into putting more energy into yourself. And the Spirit says, that's what I wanted you to do. I wanted you to play, because if you grew up in an environment where it was so toxic and your parents couldn't really do as much for you because they had to deal with their own problems, well, then you wouldn't go out and explore. You wouldn't go out and play and explore and really be open. You'd want to live a little bit more, you wouldn't want to make anyone mad, is what I'm feeling. You didn't want to create waves in the home because there was already stress in the home, and children intuitively put that on to themselves. Gifts, and to find your own gifts. Like, I believe that you were coming from a place of lack. And a lot of times, if you grow up in a home that there is a lot of trauma, and the trauma that meaning the parents and ancestral karma and whatever else, and that karma could be that there was sickness, there could be any reason. Not all the time is it abuse. Sometimes there's just one parent, sometimes it's just not enough money, but there's a sense of lack. There's a sense of that somebody doesn't feel strong, someone doesn't feel safe, and that is our caregiver. And if our caregiver doesn't feel safe, then we don't feel safe. And if we're then in the survival mind, we are not creating our gifts. That we have to be in our supernatural mind. We have to be in this energy to form our gifts. That's the way. We have to be like childlike. That's why it says that in the Bible, be like childlike. I mean, go out and play. Go out and find yourself. Have a love affair with yourself. This person, again, is like you're watching it, this person, and they're mirroring a lot of the things that is how you feel like you grew up, their behavior and what they do. Like, and that's, or bringing up a lot. And that's you could either repeat a karmic cycle, or you can again go out and create yourself and find yourself by playing. And you were like, well, it's a no-brainer. And when you do, that's really when you find your gifts. You find your spiritual gifts, you find your talents, right? And then what happens? Then you're a magnet for who and what is actually supposed to come into your life, not this random energy that's familiar. That's familiar, and there is unconditional love there, because again, we will always have unconditional love for the families that we grew up in. Doesn't matter how toxic, it doesn't matter how much we hate them. That's the irony. You could actually say, no, no, I hate them, but there's also a sense of, yeah, I said I hate them, but you're not allowed to say that you hate them. Like it's like you're crazy, and it's like, yeah, I am, because that's the environment. There's that dynamic of it. So we could either repeat that, which again, that love is pain, which is really confusing, or we can realize that no, no, love is loving myself first, investing in myself to find my talents, is to find my worth. To find my gifts is to find my worth. To share my gifts is to actually go out and play. That helps me connect on a deep heart-based consciousness, which again, that's the supernatural lives inside the heart. And we give and receive of love through our free will, because God is love. And we again give that through our gifts, and we give that through our talents. And by playing it, it creates a whole life. Now, I believe that you're the catalyst for your person to learn, to heal, but they're just not on your vibration. Now, it doesn't mean that there wasn't unconditional love. There clearly was, just the same as there's unconditional love for your family. However, you have a choice. Repeat or transcend, and you transcended, but Spirit says, the voice of the heart. This is what Spirit says, well, because you did the right thing, and you, again, broke the karmic cycle, you do need to keep one thing, like awareness, let's just say, spiritual guidance type of awareness, and that's the voice of the heart. I silence the fear in me and discover the voice of my heart. The fruit of these words guide me. I trust the song of my soul. My intuition leads me on the path of light. So again, giving and receiving of love through your free will. When you're in heart-based consciousness, your intuition is what leads you. And it leads you to the right people, the right situations, the right experiences, which is again the right path for you. And that path is not always going to be logical. It's not always going to be analytical. Like, it's going to be more, again, it's what I felt. Just felt right. Just something that I love to do. It's again, and I just love it. That's the energy that God says, now we're talking. Now you're embodying the energy of love. So there'll be no stopping you. You can only attract love. Now, that's the only way you'll be able to repel people that are not on your vibration. They won't be able to stay on your vibration. You'll always be able to feel when someone's not really on your vibration. And if they're not contributing to your life, they're not making you feel good, they're not letting you see. And that's what you showed this person, the person that's connected to you. Sad for them because you're not going to be in their life and they will always remember you. You will be the one that got away because you impacted their life. You impacted their life, but it's not equal for you. But possibly if they would have given you too much time, too much energy, you wouldn't have found yourself. You wouldn't have found your gifts. And now it's all about you co-creating and creating the best life for yourself. And I'm going to end this there, Virgo. You let me know how you resonated with this video. Don't forget to give me a like, subscribe to the channel. If you didn't, it's good karma. And write the word genius in your comment bar. By the way, for those of you, I just want to share really fast. If those of you that are looking for shadow healing, definitely check out the description box. In my description box is my Patreon. Find it, read about my shadow healing course. I'm proud of this course. I think it's an amazing course for $7.99 a month. You can't beat it. It comes with inner child healing, shadow healing, reparenting, and all the healing modalities to heal the effects of trauma, because trauma will create detachment, disassociation, a lot of other things that then we need to recondition. We need to reprogram, rewire the brain. So the exercises are important. Okay. Until next time, be true to you guys. I'll see you all soon. Bye.